From a young age, women are often called beautiful instead of strong, or told to be careful instead of to go out and conquer whatever obstacle is in front of them. With these ideas instilled in them from a young age, females may develop a more cautious and people-pleasing approach to the rest of their lives. Perhaps it is these traits that encourage some women to stay at home and raise a family instead of going out into the job market and searching for a job. It is a well-known fact that men are significantly taller, stronger, and faster than most women. Players in the National Basketball Association, or NBA, dunk every opportunity they get. There are only a handful of their female counterparts that could ever accomplish that feat. Major League Baseball players can hit home runs close to 500 feet, while fast-pitch players consider 250 feet a huge homer. This display of strength, speed, and agility by men may be what keeps people coming back to men's sports and keeps women's sports hidden in the shadows. In addition to this, past research came to many false conclusions about the female body, and these conclusions restricted women from participating in athletics and exercise. In her piece entitled, "You Can Only Hope to Contain Them," Amanda Hess discusses how, in 1967, the first woman to run the Boston Marathon was told that she should refrain because her breasts may instantaneously atrophy and her vagina may prolapse. Hess also discusses how the first sports bra wasn't even invented until 1977 and how this bra was composed of two sewn-together jockstraps. This shows that female participation in competitive athletics wasn't even thought about until 1980. That's rather recent, isn't it? This lack of female participation in sport and in the professional sector as a whole may explain why the wage gap in professional sports still exists today. Professional athletes often make their way through collegiate athletic programs before beginning participation in professional leagues. In 1972, Title IX was passed to ensure that all federally funded educational programs received equal funding based on gender. Outsiders may think that, since the passage of Title IX, college athletics has been an even playing field, but this just isn't true. According to the Women in Sports Foundation, which was founded by female athlete and gender equality pioneer Billie Jean King, female athletes are still receiving 63,241 less chances to participate on NCAA-sponsored teams. Women's sports only receive 40% of operating dollars and 36% of recruitment spending. The difference between the median coaching salaries for those who coach male and female sports is $2.25 million. How are women supposed to expect equality in the professional realm when they aren't even getting it at the amateur level? Now, let's look at the professional level. Men have had the chance to compete in professional athletics since the late 1800s. Major League Baseball was the first professional sports league to be founded in America, and it began in 1876. American Men's World Cup Soccer was next in 1913. The National Football League was third, with its inaugural campaign being in 1920. The NFL was followed by the National Basketball Association's inception in 1946. Now, let's compare these starting dates to those of the largest women's professional leagues. One of the earliest professional leagues for female athletes was founded in 1943 and was known as the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League, or AAGPBL. The league was founded because too many American MLB players were being drafted or enlisting in World War II, so the MLB had to be temporarily disbanded. The AAGPBL was disbanded in 1954, as this was shortly after the war ended and America's boys were back on home soil and ready to play ball. Professional female athletic leagues that still exist today proved to be founded very recently. American Women's World Cup Soccer began in 1991. The Women's National Basketball Association began playing games in 1996. The National Women's Football League was founded in 2000, and the National Pro Fast Pitch League was founded in 2004. When looking specifically at the differences in wages between professional male and female athletes, the numbers are astounding. Let's compare the National Pro Fast Pitch League, or NPF, to Major League Baseball. NPF pitching phenom Monica Abbott recently signed a monumental contract. She signed a 6-year, $1 million deal with the NPF's newest team, the Scrapyard Dogs. By the way, the first $1 million MLB deal came in 1979 on the arm of Nolan Ryan. However, Monica Abbott's deal does not guarantee her $1 million up front. $120,000 of it is salary, and the rest comes from bonuses. The NPF salary cap is the reason the Scrapyard Dogs cannot pay her $1 million up front. Now, let's look at her equivalent in the MLB, Los Angeles Dodgers ace Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw is in the middle of a 7-year, $215 million contract. He is making about 200 times more than Monica Abbott. When looking from the perspective of a typical MLB player versus a typical MPF player, the difference is even more astounding. The average MPF player makes $5,000 to $6,000 a season, while the average MLB player makes about 667 times that, bringing in $4 million per season. All of these statistics beg the question, should female professional athletes be paid as much as their male counterparts? Well, they put in the same amount of work, they train just as hard, and when comparing the MLB and the NPF, the NBA and the WNPA, and women and men's World Cup soccer, the sports are identical or nearly the same, so what's the holdup? One of the most common arguments for the wage gap in professional sports is revenue. Women simply don't bring in the dollars that men do. However, in the case of the United States Women's National Soccer Team, or USWNT, the revenue does not match the pay. The women playing on the USWNT have earned numerous awards in recent years, with the highlight of these accomplishments being first place at the 2015 World Cup. That year, the USWNT brought in $20 million for its governing body, the U.S. Soccer Federation. Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, and Hope Solo were becoming household names. These women were gaining the fame and respect they deserve. They were becoming as famous as many male athletes. Despite this overwhelming success, the USWNT was still being paid approximately a quarter of their male counterpart's salary. If the men's national team qualifies for the World Cup, the team gets paid $2.5 million. The women's team receives $345,000. If the men's team reaches the quarterfinals, they are paid $5 million. The women get paid nothing. If the men finish second, they receive $6.25 million. The women get $780,000. Finally, for finishing first in the world, the American men's soccer team would receive $9.3 million. The women's team would receive $1.8 million. The difference is staggering, and this is why 5 of the United States women's national soccer team high-profile players, Carly Lloyd, Alex Morgan, Hope Solo, Megan Rapinoe, and Becky Sauerbrunn, appealed to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission on the charges of wage discrimination.
Currently, when athletes play in World Cup games, qualifiers, and non-competitive friendly matches, they're paid a base annual salary with potential bonuses for winning. According to the complaint, that breaks down to between $3,600 and about $5,000 for women per game. For men, it ranges from just over $6,000 to as much as $17,000. And if they make the World Cup roster, female players receive 44% of what their male counterparts earn. That's despite drawing crowds of similar size and racking up unprecedented achievements, like their 3rd World Cup trophy last summer, and back-to-back-to-back Olympic gold medals, giving the team that made us all believe a chance to make history again. And 4 of those players behind the push for equal pay are with us now. Hope Solo, Becky Sauerbrunn, Carly Lloyd, and Alex Morgan. They're joined by their attorney, Jeffrey Kessler. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
Carly, you don't just wake up one morning and say we're going to file a complaint with the EEOC and point a finger at U.S. soccer. This has been simmering for a while, but why does it come to a head now?
I think the timing is right. I think that we've proven our worth over the years. Just coming off of a World Cup win, and the pay disparity between the men and women is just too large, and we want to continue to fight. The generation of players before us fought, and now it's our job to keep on fighting.
Ladies, you complained to the U.S. Soccer Federation in the past. What's their response been when you talk about these equal pay issues?
You know, Matt, I've been on this team now for a decade and a half, and I've been through numerous CBA negotiations, and honestly, not much has changed. We continue to be told we should be grateful just to have the opportunity to play professional soccer and to get paid for doing it. And in this day and age, it's about equality, it's about equal rights, it's about equal pay, and we're pushing for that. And we believe now is the time is right, because we believe it's a responsibility for women's sports and specifically for women's soccer to really do whatever it takes to push for equal pay and equal rights.
I want to mention
and to be treated with respect.
I'm sorry, I want to mention the complaint was just mailed yesterday. The U.S. Soccer Federation hasn't had a lot of time to digest it, but they did give us this statement. While we've not seen this complaint and can't comment on the specifics of it, we're disappointed about this action. We've been a world leader in women's soccer and are proud of the commitment we've made to building the women's game in the United States over the past 30 years. Who wants to respond to that?
You know, Matt, we're sorry they're disappointed. These women are very disappointed in U.S. soccer. When they asked for the same treatment as the men, they were told it was irrational. Now, that might be a good answer in 1816. It's not an acceptable answer in 2016.
What about revenues here? I mean, you know, are revenues equal? Because I would imagine an argument could be made if the revenues aren't equal, then the pay's not equal. Where does that stand?
Actually, last year, U.S. Soccer, according to its numbers, made over $16 million from this team. The men's team caused a $2 million loss. The numbers are very obviously in favor of the women.
Ladies, what are your options here? If the U.S. Soccer Federation says, sorry, we can't do this at this time, are you willing and prepared to boycott games? Will you strike? What will you do?
Well, I think that's why we're here taking this action and filing this complaint, is that we have sacrificed so much. Every single day we sacrifice just as much as the men. We work just as much. We endure just as much physically and emotionally. And our fans really do appreciate us every day for that. We saw that with the high of last summer. And we're really asking and demanding now that now our federation and our employer really step up and appreciate us as well. So
by the way,
we need to...
Ladies, let me just interrupt. Have you heard from any of the male players?
Well, I'm sure they are in support of us. My husband plays professional soccer, and he's very much in support of me. But I would have to believe that the men's national team would as well be in support of us. While
I've got you all there, can I just change subjects one quick second? We've talked so much on this show, and others have, about the Zika virus, and a lot of specifically female athletes worried about heading to Rio for the games. Hope, have you been given the kind of information you need to feel comfortable about going?
Yeah, Matt, it's a very important decision for me and for all women athletes. But, you know, right now I really do want to focus on what's being done. This is a historical moment. You know, so much is learned from history, and I really hope that this historical moment and everything that we filed today, we can all learn from. So, you know, Zika is a huge deal. The Olympics is obviously the decision to play in the Olympics is a very big deal. It's a personal decision for me. But right now I just want to focus on what this team historically is doing.
All right, fair enough. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We'll follow this story very, very closely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very interesting, and just the beginning of the legal road there.
No question.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.
Despite a desire to watch major women's sporting events like the 2015 World Cup, women's sports do not have television deals on major networks. They are not advertised for on billboards, during commercial breaks, or on the radio. If awareness for these women's leagues and their athletes were to increase, then viewership and sales may increase. If these increase, then salary caps may have the ability to increase and, in turn, raise the salaries for female athletes. But, even with the potential ability to raise the salary cap, would athletic governing bodies raise the salaries of their female athletes? According to Billie Jean King's Women's Sports Foundation, there are many things that can be done to raise awareness for women's sports and, in turn, hope to close the wage gap. Be sure to attend and tune into games. Support companies that support these female athletes. Sign up young girls for recreational sports. Advocate for the rights of these female athletes. If these steps are taken, then the wage gap may decrease. If it doesn't, then female athletes will continue to fight for their right to equal pay for equal work in the realm of professional athletics.